Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show. If a show occurs online and nobody is there to watch it, does it really exist? That is the question. No, let's get into the main topic that we're going to get going with today. Ladies and gentlemen, gather round for a little dose of reality in this insane world of geopolitics. So it turns out that those that suggested that the attack on the bridge to Crimea was carried out by a truck and were dismissed as parroting Putin talking points, well, guess what? Sometimes, just sometimes, those so-called conspiracy theorists may end up being right. You see, last year, when a truck loaded with explosives blew up that bridge, the finger-pointing began. Ukrainian officials, Russian President Vladimir Putin, and even the media got involved in the blame game. And of course, anyone who dared to suggest that the Russian explanation might have been correct was immediately labeled a Russian propagandist. But guess what? Truth has finally come out. Yeah. Ukrainian officials have now openly admitted their responsibility for the attack. Yeah, you heard it right. They finally had the guts to own up to it. And it's incredible how the narrative can shift when facts emerge. Suddenly, those that were labeled Putin puppets for even entertaining the idea that Ukraine could have been involved are vindicated. Turns out they were onto something. Now, I'm not here to defend Russia's actions or downplay the tensions between Ukraine, Crimea. Let's not forget the importance of objective reporting and critical thinking. Just because something doesn't fit the preferred narrative doesn't mean it should be dismissed as a conspiracy or propaganda. The truth is, we live in a world where misinformation, manipulation, they're rampant. Governments, whether it's Russia, Ukraine, the US, or any other country, they have their own agendas, and they'll do whatever it takes to control the narrative. It's up to us as responsible citizens to dig a little deeper, question everything, and demand transparency. So the next time you hear someone being labeled a Russian stooge for suggesting something that goes against the prevailing narrative, take a step back. Consider the possibility that they might be onto something. Let's not allow ourselves to be blindly led by political agendas and media narratives. The truth is out there, my friends, and sometimes it's a little more inconvenient than we'd like it to be. This story should serve as a reminder that we should stay vigilant, keep questioning, hold those in power accountable. Only then can we hope to uncover the truth and move toward a more informed and just world. My name's Tom Coffey. This is the Coffee Nuance Show, the best censored commentary and news show live right now. Flame on. All right, thanks for joining me, everyone. You may notice I don't have any of the fun graphics today. The reminder for that is don't ever update your computer. Don't ever do that. They say, oh, you need to do the security update. It's really important. Yeah, doing a little security update's not going to screw everything up and make sure that none of my computers can talk to each other anymore. How many times do I need to learn this lesson? Each time I tell myself, don't do it. Don't update. It's going to screw everything up. Well, here we are. So no graphics until I can figure it out. Maybe I'll have graphics tomorrow, maybe not. I mean, I got a busy day today. Tonight's my pickleball night, so we'll have to see about that. But anyway, getting to this story. See, last year, a truck rigged with explosives blew up on a bridge connecting Ukraine to Crimea, and it caused serious damage. Ukrainian officials have now officially admitted responsibility for the attack, stating it was intended to disrupt Russian supply lines to the occupied Crimea Peninsula. The attack occurred in October 2022, and it was aimed at breaking the logistics of the Russians. The Ukrainian responsibility for the attack has been known, but not openly admitted or acknowledged until now. The New York Times previously ran an investigation on the incident detailing how Ukrainian operatives carried out the attack. The strike not only damaged the bridge, but also hindered Moscow's transportation of supplies to Crimea. Vehicle traffic on the bridge was fully restored in February, and rail service resumed in May. So, this is one of those things that I just find interesting. And then you can go back and look at the stories and look at... See, that's the thing, is we never go back and hold anybody accountable for what they say at the time. And it reminds me of when you're watching sports TV, like a ESPN or something. You have these experts that are all saying what the truth is. Oh, no, this is going to happen. This is definitely going to happen. That totally is not going to happen. Damian Lillard is going to go to this team, and he's definitely not considering this other team. And we hear that all the time, every day. But after it happens, we never go back and say, hey, you know what? You were wrong about that. We have no hindsight. We never go back. We just keep moving forward. And at the time, Putin came out immediately and said it was a truck. It said what happened. And the entire U.S. media said, well, it could be that. It could be, maybe it was, a submarine. Maybe it was other ways of doing it. It could have been a missile. We don't know. And if you wanted to accept, if you thought, I don't know, they seem to have some evidence, and this is what they're saying, so it's probably most likely, you're just repeating Putin talking points. You're a Russian propagandist. And when it turns out that you're right, well, you're still a Russian propagandist because you shouldn't have believed him to begin with. I don't know. It's interesting. It is very interesting. Yeah. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Anyway, no graphics. So much fun. I have so much fun with all the graphics. And I had some good ones today for the stories, but whatever. But I got a good show today. I am very, very close. I think my channel is going to be reviewed this week. So I probably should have picked some more milquetoast topics to talk about. But my channel's going to be reviewed, hopefully, very soon. And perhaps I will become monetized again. We'll have to see. We'll see what happens. But if you could do me a favor, hit that like button. Let them know that this is worthy content, right? And again, we're streaming every day. And we're also streaming on other platforms as well. Now, this is interesting. We're streaming live on Rumble. And I thought we were streaming on DLive today, but doesn't seem to be working. Oh, well. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Anyway, I got a number of stories to get to today, so yeah, let's get to it. Did you hear about President Biden's take on Ukraine joining NATO? It's like trying to invite someone to a party in the middle of a war zone. I mean, talk about awkward timing. It's like sending out the party invites while your house is on fire. Hey, Joe, maybe focus on putting out the flames before you start planning the guest list, okay? So here's the news over the weekend. President Biden stated that Ukraine is not yet ready to join NATO due to this ongoing conflict with Russia. While Ukraine works on meeting the necessary qualifications, Biden pledged to provide security guarantees and weaponry to defend against Russia. He approved sending cluster munitions to Ukraine and will keep seeking NATO's support during his trip. Biden also expressed optimism about Sweden joining NATO and emphasized the importance of keeping the alliance united. Regarding China, he aims for a stable relationship but acknowledged China's goal to become a global superpower. Biden warned against China supporting Russia and highlighted potential economic consequences. He dismissed concerns that his age and expressed determination to complete his agenda in the next 6 years. We'll have to see about that. So that's the news. You know, they were talking about, you know, is Ukraine going to be accepted into NATO? And obviously you can't do this during wartime. That's essentially asking the United States to you know, officially declare a world war. That's not good. Instead, we'll just use Ukraine as a proxy, and you know, this whole thing is very, very unfortunate. But if you look at incentives, right? If the number one thing for Russia is Ukraine not joining NATO, right? If that's their number one thing, Ukraine cannot join NATO. And Biden says, well, we won't let you join NATO until this war is over. What's the incentive for Russia to ever stop the war? And here's a thought for you, just to consider. Why is the U.S. still in NATO? Why? I mean, I understand the purpose originally, right? The purpose of NATO originally was, after World War II, you had all of these countries in Europe destroyed. They were all destroyed. But the Soviet Union had won World War II. Right? So they were strong, and the rest of Western Europe was kind of weakened from the war. So the idea was that, hey, we'll make sure that the Soviet Union won't roll in here and take over. Made sense at the time, right? But now, right, a lot of these countries are richer than the U.S. You know, why are we providing defense for them? I don't know. Like, why? To make sure that the Soviet Union doesn't roll through Europe, kind of the way they've totally rolled through Ukraine. Oh, they couldn't just roll through Ukraine, but yet they'd totally roll through the rest of Europe? Is that, I don't know, is anyone buying this? I'm not. Honestly, I think that would be the best thing that we could do from this, is just have the U.S. withdraw from NATO. I think the war would be over tomorrow. But I don't know. I definitely don't think that this whole thing is going to end while Joe Biden is president. Although I do think it could end if any other human being on earth were president. Maybe not Gavin Newsom, but pretty much, you know, all of the people running for president, I think would end this thing over in Ukraine, and let's hope that happens. Anyway, let's get to some more kind of touchy news. Hey, did you hear about the lawsuit seeking reparations for the Tulsa race riot? Yeah. They wanted compensation for something that happened a century ago. I mean, talk about a delayed payment request, but hey, who am I to judge, right? Maybe I will start a lawsuit demanding reparations from the Vikings for their invasion of England. I'm sure my long-lost ancestors would appreciate the payout. So here's the story. An Oklahoma judge has thrown out a lawsuit seeking reparations for victims of the descendants of the 1921 Tulsa race massacre. The lawsuit argued that the destruction of Tulsa's black neighborhood during the riot still affects the community today. The judge dismissed the case after arguments that the compensation would burden the government financially. Survivors' attorneys plan to appeal the decision. The mayor expressed committed to addressing the event's legacy, but opposed using municipal funds for reparations. So this is an interesting story, and oh damn it. Am I still live? Okay, I hope I'm still live. I clicked on the wrong thing. Okay. Let's see, hang on. Yep, still live. Okay, good. Thank you. Still live. Good. Oh. Anyway, so this is an interesting story. I read the Washington Post article from yesterday. I'll leave a link in the description. You can check it out. What I find very interesting is how the description of what happened in Tulsa has changed over the past 5 years. Okay? So for like 95 years, it was called a race riot. And about 5 years ago, they were like, oh, race riot doesn't sound that good. You know, a race riot. I don't know. That sounds like both sides were doing some bad stuff. Right? It's a race riot. That's not good branding. Let's call it a race massacre. Okay. We'll just change it. We need to change how this is talked about. Now, I think at the time, you know, like soon after, like they knew everybody that got killed in this race riot. It's like 10 white dudes and 28 black dudes died, were killed. And those are the official records. That's everybody knows, you know, who was killed, right? You know, they had the names of all these people. But, you know, you get some people that are, I don't know, I'm not saying they're grifters. But then they say, well, you know, it could have been more. Could have been more. Well, it could have been 300. Well, could have been, yeah. And I've seen... since then, some people say, oh, it could have been 3,000. And then that gets repeated like, it was 3,000. It was 300. You know, this Washington Post article, in fact, you know, if I were to fact check it, I'm just scrolling through here, see if I can find it. Let's see, find hundreds. Okay. So in the Washington Post article, it says, over one night, attackers burned and looted homes in the area, killing hundreds of black residents, according to a 2001 State Commission report. That's the Washington Post yesterday. That's what they said yesterday. Killing hundreds of black residents, according to this report. Well, they have a link to the report. I look at the report, and guess what? The report doesn't say that at all. You know, it says that, you know, some people have said that it may have been. But, like, okay. People can say there may have been lots of stuff. You know? I may have slept with 20,000 models. I may have. Does that make it true? No. Is there any evidence that I've slept with 20,000 models? I mean, wow. Well, you know, someone said that I may have. So, you know, there we go. And in the same way, they've been rewriting this story. Now, I don't like this. I don't like talking about race. It's not my thing at all. In many ways, when I was in college, we kind of seemed to be living in a post-racial world, if you can believe that. For a brief time, everyone seemed to be getting along, and, you know, It wasn't a thing. And then everything changed. So to me, I don't like even talking about this stuff. But one thing that I do like talking about is kind of how the media is not exactly honest. So that's my interest in this story. That even the Washington Post, you can look this up for yourself. The article, I'll leave a link in the description, killed hundreds of black residents. And is there any evidence of that? No, there's none. Zero evidence of that. I guess we don't know any of those people's names. Those people's families don't miss them. There were no reports of, people disappearing. But, it may have been. It may have been. May have been thousands, right? May have been. Interesting. Yeah, the whole thing's interesting and how it gets framed. And, again, it's like the original story that I talked about in the article. If you were to say something that goes against the mainstream media narrative on something, you are, some kind of hater, white supremacist, whatever. I don't know. Putin puppet, right? Yeah. Again, I think what happened in Tulsa, horrible thing. And you probably don't want to read up on it because it's a lot uglier than you might think. And I'll just leave it at that. Because, this really isn't a topic I like talking about. But it is a huge news story, so I just thought I'd comment on it a little bit. Anyway, let's go international. Why not? Okay, did you hear about Mexico's plan to put the military in charge of airports? Talk about taking military flights to a whole new level. I mean, I've seen some intense security checks, but having a tank roll up to your gate might be a bit excessive. So here's the story. Mexico's President López Obrador is giving the armed forces control of Mexico City's main airport and plans to hand over several more airports to the military. This is part of his anti-corruption efforts. The Navy will manage the operations, including customs and immigration at the Mexico City airport. This move raises concerns about the military's role in civilian affairs. The airport has faced problems with drugs, illegal migration, infrastructure, and corruption. López Obrador aims to have a dozen airports under military control by 2024. However, experts doubt this is going to solve the issue, and Mexico's aviation safety ratings has been downgraded. Additional funding, training, and inspections are needed to improve the country's aviation industry. So this is an airport I know a lot about. I've been to the Mexico International Airport many times. Rolled through there, and I was just there the month of October last year. And I guess I used the airport 4 times, right, in that month. It was funny. I was walking around for like freaking miles with without a mask, and everybody else was wearing a mask, but I was like, I don't see any signs. Eventually, I was told, hey, put a mask on. I was like, oh, really? Because I've been here like an hour. But that was kind of amusing. But I don't know, if you're having problems with corruption, I like the idea of trying to do something about it. Right? Why is this a bad thing? Right? If you're having issues, if the people running the airport are corrupt, if you're having all these problems with illegal migration and smuggling and all this kind of stuff, you need to bring in somebody from the outside to fix it. And I think that's for any organization, right? I mean, if you're running a Walmart or something and all kinds of stuff is disappearing, but you got to bring in somebody else to make it stop. I'm not sure why this is a bad thing. I mean, you know, we don't like, not real comfortable going through airports with guys carrying AKs, right? I mean, that's kind of scary. But we got to fix the problem. You can't just ignore problems and hope they get better. And that's speaking of someone that lives here in Portland, right? You got to do something to try to make things better. Now, I think back, I think it was Dubai. When I was in Dubai, going through the airport there, that was a little scary because you had these military guys in the airport just walking around with, you know, I don't know if they were AK-47s or whatever. I'm not a super gun guy myself that I can identify the difference between an AR and an AK and, you know, big scary gun. And you had lots of guys in the airport walking around with that. Kind of scary. So I imagine it might put people on edge to have the military taking over an airport, but I don't know. Do you got any better ideas? Let me know in the comments, because, you know, we got problems to solve. Got to try solving them. At least that's my thought on it. But lastly, I got some good news, and it may involve you. Hey, did you hear about the solar storm giving America a chance to see the northern lights? Forget reality TV shows. Mother Nature's got the ultimate show. It's like she's saying, lights, camera, aurora. So escape the city lights, grab a blanket, enjoy the cosmic spectacle, and just remember, it's not aliens. It's nature's way of saying, I'm the original influencer, and I'm lighting up the sky. So here's the story. A solar storm on Thursday will give people in 17 American states a chance to see the northern lights. Now, this colorful sky show happens when solar wind hits the atmosphere, normally seen in northern regions. The lights are now visible farther south due to solar cycle peaking in 2024. The Geophysical Institute forecasts aurora activity in Alaska, Oregon, Washington, and a lot of other states. To see the lights, go outside the city between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. Northern lights occur when solar wind interacts with Earth's magnetic field, causing the upper atmosphere to glow. The forecast for Thursday's storm is bright and active. So, and just to be a little more specific, the forecast for auroral activity on Thursday is going to be in Alaska, Oregon, Washington, Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, New York, New Hampshire, Vermont, Indiana, Maine, and Maryland. So that's a lot of places. And are you in any of those states? Let me know in the comments. I'm excited. I've looked up where it is best visible in Oregon. And actually, it's going to be just outside of Salem, which is about an hour south of here. So I will be going to try to see the northern lights. I've never seen the northern lights. I lived actually in the Arctic, but we were too far north. Couldn't see the northern lights there. But I'm actually going to go Thursday night and try to see this. Now, in the past, there have been instances when we could have the northern lights here in Oregon over the past couple of years. There's been a couple times that it's been possible, but every time, sky was cloudy as hell. You know, see, most of the year here in Oregon, we got lots of clouds, lots of rain, and you're just not seeing anything at that point. But right now, clear skies. Hopefully it'll last until Thursday night, because I'm going out and, you know, I'll try to share it with you on Friday. I'll try to get some video, some pictures. So hopefully, knock on wood, that'll happen. Anyway, thanks for joining me today. Stick around for the after show. I will be going through all your comments and all that good stuff. I don't have the little outro thing because all my graphics are gone. So I'll hit the bumper and I'll be right back to read your comments. Peace. Here we are, everybody. Let's see. Over on Rumble, we got Duggo. What's up, Duggo? Next time someone tries to dismiss something as a conspiracy theory, ask them to name the last time a conspiracy theory was wrong. That is good. That is a good idea. The thing is, there's lots of wrong conspiracy theories, and guess what? There's lots of wrong news stories, too. There's lots of wrong sports predictions, right? There's lots of things that are wrong. We're wrong all the time. Not a big deal to be wrong. What is Biden's agenda? Does he have one? I think when we're talking about Biden, we're talking about the administration. I don't know necessarily that Biden really has any kind of agenda whatsoever. I don't know that he knows where he is half the time. But it appears to me that this entire Russia-Ukraine thing is a way... they're looking to have regime change in Russia. That's what the U.S. administration currently has said as much. And I don't get it. I don't get it. But, yeah, NATO is the reason why the Soviets had to counter with the Warsaw Pact. Yeah. It was the same then, too. Yeah, but this is all... I just don't know why we're still doing it. You know Putin asked Clinton to join NATO, right? You're aware of that? I don't know. This whole thing is rather sad. I think everything that's happening over in Ukraine, it's all really sad. And I don't really care for anybody that's in charge and the decisions that they're making over there. So, yeah. Anyway, Natasha says, never admit anything I can neither confirm nor deny that which may or may not have witnessed. Yeah. Lucid Moment says, like the tree in the forest, are you really making any noise if no one is listening? It's true. This is, see, pickleball. Yeah. Tonight's my pickleball night. I should show you my got a new pickleball racket. It's carbon fiber. Or at least they claim it is. How do I know if it's carbon fiber or not? It looks like plastic to me, but what do I know? And Natasha says, I'm a Russian stooge. Blame it on my name and my fondness for the Three Stooges. Now, where's the pie fight? Yeah, the punishment never fits the crime. That's always the case. AOC endorsed Joe Biden for re-election. And how, why, what? Yeah, I did see that. Well, going back, AOC said that she was there to cause a ruckus. And I guess she is. Any word on Gonzalo Lira? I was actually looking this up over the weekend. Nothing new about Mr. Lira. I did see that the U.S. is negotiating with Russia for the American journalist being held in Russia. But nothing for the American journalist held in Ukraine. Frankly, I think if he was released, it would probably not be good news for the U.S. or Ukraine, so I don't expect anything to change there. The Washington Compost. There we go. 20,000? In other words, Tom, while you were sleeping, 20,000 models were also sleeping. I like what you did there. Lopez, open the door. I have not heard that for AMLO, the president of Mexico. Since it didn't alarm for explosives, we let it go. Okay. Auroras this far south also due to weakening magnetic field, which may also be causing people to act crazy. Perhaps, I don't know, I haven't seen anything about that, but I'm open to that. Why can't the US just look at Russia and say, not my circus, not my monkeys? Regime change is so intrusive. I agree, and we need a lot more people saying, not my circus, not my monkeys. I would agree with that. Anyway, that's all I have for you today. I'll be back tomorrow with some more stuff. Perhaps I'll actually get my graphics working again. Maybe. Maybe not. I don't know. Anyway, I hope you all have a glorious day. Have a good one. And I guess I'll just do the bumper out of here. Peace.